See those little ones right there? Kyla's dad asked, pressing his finger against the icy glass of the tank. Watching her reflection nodded excitedly from behind him. Those are called crawfish. The big ones are lobsters. Oh, Kyla said. Well, why are they there? Kyla's dad straightened his back, drumming his fingers along the tank. Because some people like to eat them, he said. Kyla's little face drooped. But why are they going to eat them? She asked, scooting closer to the tank, enough for her nose to feel the chill from the glass. Because they taste yummy, that's all, sweetie. But they didn't do anything bad, did they? No, Kyla's dad said, bending on a knee to face her at eye level. They're nice animals, just sometimes, just because they are nice, that doesn't mean they can't be food. Chickens are nice, but you love chicken nuggets, right? The disheartened little girl nodded to her father. Come on, let's go back to Mom, he said, scooping up his daughter in his arms and carrying her back to the table. It was a quaint little cajun place off of the main highway, not too shabby, limited seating, but good food. Places like these always draw the insects from every walk of life. Case in point, the table directly across from Kyla's family with two middle-aged men munching down on some shrimp. I'm just saying you shouldn't jump to conclusions. Maybe Bryce had no idea it was spiked. Yes, he did. I'm telling you, that man's trouble. Jordan dunked another shrimp back into the cocktail sauce, sucking it down. Well then, let's rough him up. That man's got 10 fingers and 10 toes. Daryl shook his head, sipping on his Bloody Mary and wagging his finger. I don't know, man. That's some pretty seriously bad juju. What the hell is jujuce? Don't you get it? Daryl stopped himself from another headache. Juju is like, if you do bad, you get bad, you get me? So like karma? Yeah, like karma. Then just say karma. It's not exactly the same, but fine. Point is, if we're going to rack up some bad juju, we need to balance it out with good juju. Jordan stopped midway from plucking his fingers with his mouth. Like what? Like, I don't know. Do something good? As Daryl finished his thought, their waiter walked by. Excuse me, Jordan called out. Yes, sir, the waiter replied. Cancel my lobster with garlic butter. I'm going to do the house salad instead. Yes, sir, the waiter nodded, walking away. Daryl raised his brow at his associate. What the hell was that all about? Well, you said do something good, so I saved some poor little lobster from getting boiled alive. You're welcome. They can't feel it, Geordie. Says who? You ask a lobster? Daryl rolled his eyes until they were caught on the small family seated across from them. He grinned intentionally when he noticed Kyla's mom. Jordan, being a little nosy little prick, caught on to what exactly was racing through Daryl's mind. Bro, don't even start. What? I know you. Don't. Just try one bite, please, for me, Kyla's mom said. Kyla shook her head profusely. Her dad had leaned forward and swallowed the entire spoonful of Mom's gumbo. You're missing out, sweetie. What does it have lobster in it? Kyla asked. Her mom darted a look at her dad. Yes, honey. Do you not want to try any lobster? They killed him, Kyla protested. Who? Kyla's mom asked. The lobster, she frowned. Her dad let out a sigh. Oh, Kyla, he said. That's just a cycle of life, sweetie. It's okay. Lots of people eat animals. Like dogs? Kyla snapped. No, her dad said with a bleak chuckle. Not dogs. So, can we get one? Kyla asked. What, a dog? Her father asked, surprised. Kyla nodded with a little smile. Absolutely not, her mom said. Dogs are far too much money. We've talked about this. Like $1 million? Kyla said. Not $1 million, her mom replied, but a lot. Kyla nodded with a frown, looking over at the tank full of lobsters and crawfish. How much is a lobster then? Kyla asked, a question that perked up her old man. You want to try one? Kyla's dad, Sullivan, nodded. We can split it. They're like $30. That's not $1 million, Kyla said. Her mom shot another look at her father. Wait, you mean you want one as a pet? Her dad asked. Kyla nodded. The man looked quite apprehensively over to his wife, who was already shaking her head. I'll take really good care of him, I promise, little Kyla said. I don't, her mother started, noticing the genuine innocence of her daughter's petition. Well, we don't even have a tank. That's okay, you could sleep in the bath, Kyla excitedly said. No, her dad started. We'll get a tank for him. He smiled, turning to his wife and ushering over the waiter. Daryl and Jordan watched as the waiter came over, escorted the family over to the lobster tank, and picked out the biggest lobster there was. The hell? Jordan said. Look, Daryl interrupted, pointing at the squirming crustacean. It's your lunch. He broke out laughing. They're taking a live one home. You realize how much that costs? Daryl nodded, eyeing Kyla's mother as she helped her daughter hold up the heavy box loaded with the live critter. It's a shit ton of money. Those people must be loaded as hell. Yeah, Jordan said, staring down at his half-eaten house salad. You know there's more where that came from. Daryl looked back to Jordan, who was already giving him the look. They knew what they were about to do. The ride home was very bumpy. No more than usual, of course, but for a live lobster, it was the longest car ride of its existence. And for its new owner, it's the anticipation of a lifetime, first pet being brought home. Mom, can he eat chocolate? Kyla asked, pulling a tiny M&M from between the car seats. No, I don't think so, baby, she said, turning to her daughter. What's his name anyway? Kyla fought one for a moment, listening to the large lobster tap around inside the cardboard box in his lap. As she listened, her father began twisting the radio dial, turning out to a song that was playing, Rock Lobster by the BC-52s. You remember this one, Kay? Her dad asked from the front seat. This song's from when Daddy was young. Rock Lobster, it's called. He smiled, and that's when Kyla lit up with the idea. Rocky, she said. I'll call him Rocky. Good idea, her mother replied. Little did Kyla her mom and dad or Rocky know that tailing just behind them was a black SUV was Daryl and Jordan, too distracted by the new pet. The unsuspecting family had no idea that any harm was coming for them. This blissful ignorance, though, would soon run out. How's Rocky doing, sweetie? Good, Kyla muttered, peering over the side of the bed into a bucket filled with Epsom salt water, listening to Rocky clinking around against the plastic. That's good, you're being a very good mommy to him. But now it's time to let him rest. And you tomorrow, Daddy said he'll take you to the pet store to get a tank, okay? Okay, Kyla said, nesting on her bed. I love you, her mother said, kissing her forehead. I love you too, Mommy, Kyla said with a yawn, closing her eyes and squeezing tightly onto the rubber band from Rocky's claw. Kyla woke up to a thud too loud to be Rocky. Maybe it was Dad. Dad? She called out. No response. Dad? She said again, a bit louder this time. Then from behind her, a hairy hand covered her mouth tightly, an index finger pressing against her lips. Shh! Daryl whispered into the girl's ear. Don't make any loud noises, okay? I don't want to have to hurt you, your mommy, or daddy, alright? Jordan suppressed his laughs as he approached Daryl's side, pulling out a piggy bank from Kyla's dresser. Daryl turned to watch him quietly yank on the cork wedged inside of it. Wow, Daryl hushed. You just hit the fucking mother load right there. Shh, Jordan snapped. You're going to cuss in front of the little kid? Talk about bad juju. He rolled his eyes. Man, we're stealing from them. It's gonna take a hell of a lot of good juju just to make up for this. I'm gonna have to start going back to church. Yeah, but worth it? Jordan asked, watching the wads of rolled up bills fall into his palm. The clinking of Rocky within the bucket caused Kyla to squirm in her bed, letting out a soft yet muffled groan. Daryl tightened his grip on her. Shut up, kid. Oh, don't wake your folks. I don't want to have to fucking kill them, okay? Daryl looked from the girl over to the bucket, pulling out an M9 and waving it in front of her face. Tapping his finger on the trigger, he leaned over to the bed and shot a glance into the bucket. Jordan, Jordan, he snappily whispered. What? Jordan barked. Your lunch. It's in the bucket. The lobster? Daryl nodded, chuckling to himself while shaking his head. They didn't even eat the damn thing. Who keeps a lobster as a pet? Jordan laughed. We'd better off eating that fucking thing. Search the other rooms, then we'll leave. We'll take the lobster and crack into it tonight. A celebratory dinner, huh? Jordan nodded, creaking open Kyla's bedroom door and creeping down the hallway. That's when Kyla's mother entered the scene. She gasped, clamping her hands over before her mouth as she took a step back, followed by 2 defensive ones towards her daughter's room. Don't hurt her, please, she gasped. My husband. Your husband? Jordan interrupted. Ain't gonna do shit. He waved his Beretta in front of her face. Now at this point, hearing the light commotion, Daryl emerged from the doorway of Kyla's room, focused through the darkness on Miss Kyla's mom. He grinned. Please, we'll do anything. We have money. Oh, we know you have money, Jordan said. But how about we talk about anything you mentioned? Daryl hissed as he descended the hallway towards his creeping eyes along her body. Yes, anything. Just don't hurt her. I think, Daryl grinned, huffing a lot of hot breath in her face. You and I have a very different definitions of anything. Growing tired of Daryl's games, Jordan poked his head out to the parents' room. Noticing the still sleeping husband, mouth agape, he crept in, opening his drawer cabinets, eventually find Mr. Kyla's dad's wallet. He shook his head in disappointment, returning to the hallway where Daryl, horny as hell, was nibbling on the mother's neck, gun pressed to her belly with one hand, removing her wedding band on the other. Call it a superstition, but Daryl couldn't nibble a married woman. At least the one with the band still. It's a bust, Jordan croaked. They don't have shit. I got the dad's wallet. Can't you see I'm busy? Jeez, Daryl snapped. Busy or not, I think there's enough here to play Price, Jordan said, flipping through the billboard. I don't give a rat's ass about Bryce. That shit is ours, Daryl said, letting go of the woman and taking the wallet in his hands. Jordan shrugged by him and approached the woman. Who'd you see here tonight? He demanded. The woman caught his eyes and caught on. Nobody. Good answer. Jordan, Daryl said, shoving the wallet into his pocket. Don't forget our dinner, he said, nodding to Kyla's room. Jordan nodded. With a quick trot to the room, he lifted the bucket and glanced over to the little girl. Don't worry, he said. Your little buddy here is in good hands. The ride back to the apartment was bumpy, accentuated by the sloshing of salt water coming from within the bucket clenched between Daryl's thighs. It was a very long drive ahead, and the pair realized that the family at that point had likely already called the cops, meaning they had every tight window for getting the hell out of Dodge. Jordan pressed on, though the fog made it difficult to see through the chilled glass. You could say that pair was now trapped within a tank of their own, of sorts. Certainly not one of the local Kanjin place, but nevertheless. Daryl stared at his reflection in his glass, holding up his hand dressed in the woman's wedding band. What the hell was that? Jordan said, noticing the shine of the thing. Nothing, Daryl said dismissively. Is that lady's wedding ring? Yeah, Daryl nodded. Nice, Jordan replied. That's a few grand right there. Let me see it. Daryl nodded and pulling the wedding ring from his finger and extending it towards Jordan. As he did that, however, a thud from underneath the car sent the slippery, sweaty ring right into the bucket. It was Rocky's ring now. Oh shit, Daryl said, looking into the bucket. Get it, Jordan snapped, before that thing eats it or some shit. Daryl plunged his hand into the icy water, fishing around for the ring. Got it! As he pinched the ring, Rocky the lobster found a score of his own, clasping down onto Daryl's index finger and cracking it straight from the bone to the other side, leaving nothing but a dangled wad of flesh to squirm around in the blood-filled water. Daryl shrieked in agony, obviously, as the lobster tightened its grip, forcing his other hand to go plunging into the bloodbath and pulling the large lobster's claw apart. Holy shit! Jordan shouted, turning to face Daryl, gripping and steering the wheel hard. Daryl, what the And that's when everything went dark. Do the math, 70, maybe 75 miles an hour on the highway, plus one really pissed off lobster equals 2 crooks on the side of a Northern Oak. Jordan lifted his blood-splattered head from the glass-covered steering wheel, trying his best to forcefully focus onto Daryl. Daryl? He shouted through the pain. Daryl? Daryl was alive, though not for long, but he had too much blood in his mouth to speak. He spit out to the dash as he grit his teeth. Bad juju, was all he could sputter. Jordan shook his head against the glass with the rest of his strength. No, man, he said. There ain't no bad juju. We did this shit to ourselves. Jordan dropped right then and there. The police arrived at the scene shortly after. They were already on the pair's trail, and when they found the free forks of an SUV mounted into an oak tree, it was safe to assume they found them. It was an odd scene to say the least. 4 pounds of spike methamphetamine under the black back seat, a coating of blood-laced salt water on the floor, a wedding band and a severed finger resting underneath the passenger seat, and of course a lobster, named Rocky, still very much alive in the back seat, maybe feeling minimal pain.
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Miss Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, stay pretty.